Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. We're gonna take a look at Transformers today. I don't really deal with Transformers too much, but when it comes to Dinobots, I kind of make an exception. I'm a huge, dinosaur nerd, fanatic. And I do love Transformers as well, so combining the two, a dinosaur and a robot. One of the greatest ideas and creations out there. But here we have Dinobot Sludge, as you can see there with the packaging name. Seen a lot of these at Walmarts and whatnot. They haven't really gone on sale, even though they've been sitting for quite a while now. Maybe eventually, I mean, now that I bought it, then maybe it will go on sale now, but just thought I'd buy it before they eventually do just leave the shelf at some point, because you never know with action figures. Sometimes they sit for a long while and you're just waiting for that sale to happen, and then you're too late to the sale and now you can't find it anymore anywhere at all. And so that's why I bought this guy. I'm sure I missed out on some other what are these called, Studio Series Dinobots, which is a real shame. I think I missed out on Grimlock, which is kind of the main guy you want from the Dinobots. But this guy is number 8615, I guess. Studio Series or Leader Class. And then you have, this is from the Transformers movie. We have the name, the Autobot logo there, and your packaging. I'm not too familiar with Transformers. We have another Autobot with Generations there, and then Takara Tomy over there. Transformers label there. Some nice artwork here, and I love the artwork as well on this box. Yeah, it's not plastic packaging. I don't care. I love the art on the front there, and on the back you just have sort of renders of the figure, 31 steps to transform, and everything else that's included, which isn't much, and we'll get to it. One thing that did worry me about this particular figure is that almost every box I've seen on the shelf is pretty banged up, so it's always scary not knowing if the figure's actually there and whatnot because of windowless packaging and all that stuff, whatever. You came wrapped in this strings and whatnot, and then you do have your background piece as well as your instruction booklet and warnings and all that stuff. But there's your booklet on how to transform Sludge into his dino mode, which this figure will involve parts forming. So if you don't know Transformers, parts forming is when you have additional pieces that not necessarily are attached to the figure already, and you have to attach them after you complete a certain amount of steps, or you swap pieces out and whatnot. Parts forming, some people like it, some people don't mind, some people hate it. I could care less about that. Once I have it in the Dinobot mode, I think it's gonna stay in that mode forever. So that's why I didn't even try to transform it before recording this video. So we have the other piece. You have his accessory, which is one sort of blaster here, and for the most part it looks nice. Has some nice detail and whatnot, some nice yellow or goldish paint kind of going for it. No blast effects for any of his modes. It would have been nice to have a blast effect for this cannon, or even a blast effect for when he's in Dinobot mode, have some sort of laser resembling that on the art. But no, we don't get any blast effects, which is a shame. but I will try to see if anything else fits here from any of the blast effects that I already own, which I don't think so. This seems to be a very big port there, but that is his blaster. Looks very nice and simple. And then we have Sludge himself in his robot mode, and for the most part this guy is very blocky. Good articulation. I'm gonna go briefly through it. His head goes up about that much before it springs back for some reason. Yeah, so it just springs back, so on its own it goes back about that much. You can look down about that much. He does have a head swivel and not real pivoting, you know, but he can turn side to side and you can get some pretty good poses out of it. Arms go out about that much. No butterfly joints. They do rotate and it all feels very ratchety. As you can probably hear there, you do have some bicep swivel. You do have double jointed arms here, which, you know, give you some good range, but you can see where that bends there. And oh, something happened with my recording, but I was mentioning elbow bends there and you get more of a 90, so that's nice. Your hands are gonna swivel here and that's about all the range you get. You don't get any hinges or whatnot, kind of, if you slightly tuck it in there, but that's about as much as you'll get. You do have a waist swivel, no real ab crunch, which is a bit of a shame. You can kick out about that much, and you can see the super blocky legs there. You do have the upper thigh cut there. For a robot, I mean, you have a cut there, so it can rotate, and single jointed knees, so it gives you just about 90, exactly 90. For the feet, you don't really have any kind of cut here, boot cut or all that kind of stuff. You can detach it from here and just sort of get a pivot out of it. So, you know, you can choose it that way, and you technically do have sort of a toe band there or foot band there that you can try and use. But yeah, it just looks very awkward once you start to do that kind of posing. But that does it for his robot mode in terms of articulation. Obviously there's just a bunch of detail, you know, panel lines and whatnot going throughout this guy. Very nice Autobot logo there. You do have his head here, which I don't know if it has that sort of piping in the eyes, but if they are painted, I believe, sort of a bluish color in there. But yeah, just a lot of different detail going on. You have the back kibble, so for those of you who are not Transformer, you know, terminology savvy, back kibble basically describes, you know, whatever's behind on the back of a Transformer, because some Transformers have, you know, very complicated designs or transformations, and sometimes they put all that, you know, ugly stuff on the back of the figure. And here, I don't know, I don't mind it as much. It looks pretty cool. He has these weird like wing things on the back, but for the most part it all looks pretty decent. Like I said, very blocky feet, and then not much at the bottom. But yeah, there's just crazy detail here going for this guy. And yeah, I'm just happy how he looks. You know, you have your red torso and whatnot. So yeah, and then, you know, you have sort of the feet mold there. But other than that, I think it's time to transform this guy. So starting off with step number 1. I have no idea how I'm going to edit this, or how English. I don't know how long this will take me. You know, this is supposed to be a kid's toy. It's supposed to be kid friendly, so hopefully not too long. Our first step is to rotate them, attach the added head, and then bend it over. And then we do have to remove his gun, I assume. Alright, well, let's get started with at least that. Alright, I said screw this booklet and just went to YouTube and found another reviewer's transformation on it. Some things are just very unclear on what they want you to do. And it doesn't help that everything's like super dark red highlighted and you can't make out any of the details. So yeah, I just resorted to another video. And well, here he is, fully transformed. Kind of wanted to record it all just to, you know, have it on video. But yeah, some things are just way too complicated in this transformation. And I was like, I'd rather take my time with it rather than break something, you know. But here we have him. He's fully transformed now, and yeah, I love him. He's just a little brontosaurus, or apatosaurus. I don't know. Back then, I think the brontosaurus was still a valid genus, and that's what, or valid species, I should say. And I think that's what this is sort of modeled after, you know, the character in general. That's what it was inspired by. But you know, this is just getting into dinosaur talk and whatnot. There's still a few pieces where I'm like, maybe I did something wrong. Like here, it's still a little bit separated. The tail, well, it seems sturdy enough now. This whole piece here seems sturdy, but yeah, kind of complicated. Again, I don't deal too much with transformers and transforming them and whatnot. So yeah, it was a little hard, but I got it down. And he looks fantastic. There is some articulation, as I'll show. We have sort of a capsule here, and you can sort of, you know, bring out the arm, but not really all that much. But you do have sort of a calf swivel there, and then you do have a hinge for both of his feet. The back legs kind of keep all that articulation from the arms, so you know, can rotate, extend outward. You do have the cut there, you do have a bend, and then you don't have any articulation here at the toes, which is a bit unfortunate, but regardless, you get some good range there. The head is on a hinge. Unfortunately, there's no like ball joint, so you can't really get it rotating. The only thing you can rotate here is at the top of his head, which seems to be accurate to whatever the art is showing there. You know, he can only hinge up and down, and then he can rotate here at the top of the head. You have a opposable head as well on a hinge, and then you do have an opening and closing mouth, which isn't loose, at least not now. So yeah, not a lot of range as the robot mode, but still decent enough to get a few good poses, you know, in this dino mode. This is where, you know, that additional accessory or blast effect would have been nice to recreate that art there, which can we even kind of recreate? Kind of, not too much. It's about as close as you can get, you know, regarding that pose on the art. But yeah, some blast effects would have been nice, and obviously I said I would keep him in this mode. But I do love his robot mode as well. Not saying it's a terrible mode or whatever. And you know, I may play with him, you know, transform him back and forth, you know, just repetition kind of helps when it comes to Transformers. But yeah, I feel like if I do it a few times or more, I should be able to get the hang of transforming this guy. But for now, he is staying as a Dinobot. Now, in terms of details, he does have obviously a lot of paneling, circuitry, and all of that stuff and whatnot. You know, you have some nice gold accents, you have some nice red accents, some black and gray to really give it some good contrast. You know, a lot of bolts and machinery going on with this guy. It just has a nice blocky shape to it as well. The feet at the bottom are kind of bothersome. They do stick out a little more than I would like. You know, they're almost touching the ground with the feet. But other than that, it is a good looking Dinobot. And you know, I'm all here for the design and this character. You know, even the eyes sort of have sort of a pupil in there. It is a shame that the Autobot or the head sculpt is molded in two halves, because when you bring them together, the Autobot logo just it's just not well aligned, and it just looks ugly with that cut going down the middle. But you know, that's what we get when it's a mass manufactured action figure. So yeah, that does it for my review on this guy. A more complicated Transformer that I've reviewed on this channel, but I hope it wasn't too bad. Here he is with the, you know, background cardboard piece that is included. Doesn't really fit with, you know, his chunky dino mode. Works better with his, you know, robot mode. But you know, I have him on his hind feet. You know, it's pretty cool. He can balance himself out, and you know, it still works out. You can balance him on there, and you know, you can just have fun in your own way. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in a future video. Am I doing this right? Am I not doing this right? God only knows if I'm doing it right.